Good morning, good morning. It's nice to see you. Good morning to you. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful morning so far, and I hope you'll have a great afternoon and a fantastic evening. Uh, I was feeling a little bit weary this morning, and thought I'd cheer myself up and hopefully tell you a nice story about my middle brother, Gary, who passed away some 20-something years ago. Uh, this is Connie, over 70, and still glamorous. So I thought I'd start off by saying, first of all, I'm going to show you what I had for breakfast. And I'll probably be doing that now, hopefully on a regular basis when I post, which for the next 38 days, I'll be posting every other day. But I'll be thinking about you all the time. Okay, so my brother Gary. The first memory that comes to me about him is that no matter who he talked to, whether it was somebody he knew or it was a stranger, he always started off his conversation with telling them something positive about themselves. Your hair looks great. Your eyes look so pretty. I love your clothes. Your shoes are gorgeous. Whatever it was, he always had a compliment for everybody. My brother was very artistic, so much fun. We spent a lot of time together. And if I can pull out the pictures of us together, maybe I'll interject a couple of those in this video. Having said that, of course, everybody loved him. Everybody wanted to be around him, and he was just a very fun guy. Now, he had a big heart, but I don't think he knew the Lord, just like I didn't in the very early 80s. But about the last, I would say 2 or 3 years of his life, he started thinking the same way that I did way back then. What's it all about? Have you ever asked yourself that question before? What's it all about? And so consequently, he learned about the Lord and fell in love with the Lord also. So in his lifestyle, now I've lost 2 brothers, and both of them unfortunately died because of their lifestyles. The oldest boy, who was a year younger than I was, became a gangster, a very lovable, giving gangster. And I'll tell you about him another time. So the brother that I'm talking about today got to know the Lord and started realizing that his lifestyle was not pleasing to the Lord. He also knew and learned that the Lord loved him as his child, no matter what, and he was always there for him. And as he looked back, he realized just how much the Lord was there for him. So he started to change his life, which was a bisexual life. And it's ironic because in the very end, when he was laying there very peacefully on his deathbed, he confessed that he never was a homosexual. What he was an angry middle son who never got attention from his father. Now, my father was a very happy-go-lucky guy, and I'm sure never intended to leave anybody out, but having twin daughters kind of put us more in the spotlight. My brother never resented that, but that's how he got lost in the shuffle of a family of 7 children. So not only women loved him, but men desired him also. And that's where his downfall came in. Trying to find that love that he said on his deathbed that he never felt he had. And I think I might have told you before that my family was not, my parents were not the kind of parents that were always demonstrative or hugging or wanting to have conversation. We just always had a lot of fun together. There was really no depth as far as conversation. I remember my dad when I was, 17, trying to tell me about the birds and the bees. But, and my mom was, just totally blunt, use a condom. But those were the two serious things they ever said to me. I don't know about anybody else in the family. But anyway, so here we are together, my brother and I. And at that time I was working 7 days a week. A lot of times 6 days a week, but then a lot of times 7 days a week. And as he became sicker with the AIDS, which was very quickly, I might add, I decided to go every weekend to see him when he had to go to a hospice facility, which was right around the corner from my mom's home. And it's funny because my other brother, that I'll tell you about another time, he also was placed in a hospice right around the corner from my mom in 2 different cities. So the brother I'm talking about now was in Garden Grove, and my older brother, who I'll talk about later, was in West Covina area. Okay, so moving along. As my brother started getting sicker, he started giving away his things. He gave me a huge collection of albums, and sometimes I think half of them are Barbra Streisand, and antique telephone, and drawings that he made, and stuff like that. I don't know what he gave everybody else. I really never asked him because I wasn't really concerned about that. So here he is now in hospice, and I'm, of course, exhausted by the weekend, having been a cosmetologist and a very busy one from the very get-go. I was driving 75 miles to go see him every weekend, and he always made me laugh when I got there. And I remember one time in particular when he had gone down in the bed so far. You know how patients will kind of drop down in the bed when it's raised, and pretty soon the blankets are up to their face. And I walk in the door and he says to me, "Why do I feel like a turtle?" And of course we both start laughing. And at this time he was looking pretty bad with his, disease. So it was moments like that that I shared with my brother on his, last days. So another visit that I made to him was probably, I believe it was the last visit. And before that last visit, every time I went, he always wanted to take a bath. And so, of course, I would accommodate him, and I'd help him. And the nurses would tell me, "Your brother wants to take a bath 2 or 3 times a day." Well, looking back, that was probably occurring maybe the last month of his life. And maybe he just wanted to be clean for the Lord, not only inside, but on the outside. Because by now, he's getting a lot of the marks on his face, on his chest, on his back. Never saw the back until the last day that I saw him. And on that last day, he asked me if I would help him take a bath. And so, of course, I said yes. Let me back up a moment. During those last couple of months when he was really getting thin and getting sick, he still managed to get out of his bed, go to a bus stop, and go visit my niece, who lived on a 2nd floor. So he climbed the stairs to the 2nd floor, and when she opened the door, she was totally shocked and surprised and happy to see him. And "What are you doing here, Uncle Gary?" She said, "Well, I came to visit you." But so back to that last day that I had with him, I helped him take a bath. He got into the tub, and I turned around as he, took off his nightgown. So when I turned back around to look at him, I'm seeing him from the back. And he used to wear his hair long. And of course, he had already put a little water on his hair, so his hair looked really long, hanging down the back of his, shoulders. And it kind of startled me because what I saw was the Lord sitting there, because he had all these stripes of lesions from this horrible disease. And it reminded me of the injuries that our Lord suffered before they put him on the cross. And if you've seen the movie The Passion, that is a true depiction of what the Lord really looked like. It's all down in the history books, exactly what they used and how they tortured him and how they left him basically like a piece of just torn up meat before they hung him on the cross. Anyway, so I'm seeing this and I'm thinking, oh my Lord. And at that same time, my brother says to me, Connie, sing me that song. Now, mind you, him and I are the only people in this big room that has these great sound effects. And I said, what song, honey? He says, I Wish You Love. I said, okay. And so I guess he's, kind of washing in the front and I'm looking at the back. So I start singing, I wish you bluebirds in the spring to give your heart a song to sing, a little kiss, but more than this, I wish you love, etc., etc. And when I finished, I thought to myself, I'm sure everybody out in the hallway heard, because, the main door was open, but we didn't care. And so we continued to have our little chit-chat and gave him a towel and, he put the towel around him and got up and I took him back to his room. And then we talked and I believe also we had some other visitors that day and he said, I'd like to have some pizza. So we ordered a pizza. And I was there. I know at least 2 or 3 of my other brothers and sisters were there, but I can't remember now exactly which ones were there. And we decided to play cards. Now, when we were young kids, my mother and father used to have card games on the weekends. And so we learned how to play poker about, 13, 14, 15, something like that. And we would play all night. And we had a ball. A couple of the neighbors would come down, and that was just a normal part of our growing up. Fortunately, none of us became gamblers except maybe one brother, and the Lord healed him of that in the 80s, along with all the healings that we all got. It's kind of funny because we all met the Lord about the same time. My sister told us, where she was going at this particular time, and so we all went. So thank God for that. But anyway, when he did pass away, he was with an old girlfriend that he knew from grammar school. And she helped him take a bath. And when she left was the day that he died later on that night. Now, when he passed away, we asked the nurse what happened, because the nurse was with him. So he was never alone. And yes, they left him in the hospice also. So she said, well, I thought he was having a little bit of distressed breathing, but when I went to put the oxygen mask on him, he said, no, that's okay, that's okay. Now I remember also that last day that I was with him, part of our conversation was, Connie, he says, I'm not afraid. He says, it's a little bit scary, but I'm not afraid. So, of course, I was very grateful to hear that, and thank you, Lord. So she said, yeah, he said, no, I'm okay. It's okay. It's okay. And then as he started to drift away, she said that he called my sister's name, Bonnie. And the way he said it was like maybe a female was there in the spirit for him. I'm not sure. But anyway, I called it a holy death. I call it a peaceful passing on to his permanent home. And looking forward to seeing him again, obviously. And my brother John, who is a year younger than me, and who passed before my brother Gary that I'm talking about. Anyway, that's what I thought I'd share today. It just reminds me that no matter what we're going through, there is somebody going through something a little more difficult, maybe a lot more difficult. I thank God every day that I've never had horrible disease. In my line of work, you know, I've said before, I could have been kidnapped, I could have been robbed, I could have been sold for white slavery, I could have, so many different scenarios, but I wasn't. And that is why I will share occasionally my testimony with you, my friends, my viewers, my followers. For any of you new viewers, if you're so inclined not to want to hear these things, you know, there's an opportunity for you to just, you know, check out and move along. But my prayers are with you anyway. So, having said all that, girls, I'm going to go take care of my mother again. And I may have mentioned that I decided to put a TV in her bedroom. And that's working out good because it's so much easier to clean her in her bed. And although she's not talking to me, you know, she'll go like this, and I don't know if that means no or and I'll say, Mom, is that yes or no? And then she'll say, kind of give me a little half smile, and then I know it's a yes. I'm certainly getting plenty of walking because now, instead of her being in the family room with us most of the day like before in her little, either her wheelchair or her little Queen Anne chair that I had for her, I'm walking back and forth because she's out of sight. So I have to walk back and forth to see what's up with her. But she looks very comfortable, and I ask her, you know, every day, especially this past week since I made these changes, are you comfortable now? Yes. And took care of her, you know, slow bowels this morning, and so she'll be feeling good. She'll be feeling a little chipper. She still don't want to get up, but her little legs are getting pretty thin. She's still eating good. I'm only mentioning this because you gals asked me, you know, how's Mom? So I'm going to say goodbye now. Well, not goodbye. It's never goodbye. It's I'll see you later. Mwah. Take care of yourself. Be good to that young gal inside of you, and be nice to somebody else. Love you. Bye-bye. And this is what I had for breakfast this morning. 2 eggs with salsa, 1 potato that I cooked in the microwave, chopped up, and then browned it in a frying pan with no oil. That's it, folks. Bye.